So, I mean, do you trust him? Do you trust him? Because the commitment to this, his long vision is impressive, but it's hard to know because prospects don't always pan out. In fact, the hit rate, it needs to be pretty high for this thing to work. But he doesn't want to. They said he didn't want to block people, and you heard it there earlier. And they still may do something. Like, it's important to point out that Gleyber Torres signed on December 27th. Alex Bregman signed on February 15th last year.
And there are still a lot of people out there. Look, I don't expect him to get Kyle Tucker. I mean, he's a left-handed bat first, or Bellinger. But Bregman, Bichette, they're still out there. There's others pitching-wise. If you're going to trade Skubal, you sign Valdez. You got Amaya, the Japanese pitcher who just posted, I think. Ranger Suarez, Michael King, Zach Gallen. There's plenty of guys out there. You might even want to get in another reliever. Who the heck knows? But, yeah, it's not too late. But you don't want to go into this season with the same offensive players.
Let's get back to your phone calls. We go to Ethan and Shelby. You're on 97.1. Hi, Ethan.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
What's up?
Hey, I think we're all kidding ourselves here if we think anything is going to change as long as Ilitch owns this team. I think, Scott Harris, I empathize with the guy because he's got one hand tied behind his back. When was the last time we had a big free agent signing? It was Javi, and that was kind of Avila's last, Hail Mary throw to try to keep his job.
Let me ask you this, Ethan, let me ask you this question, though. Who gave them the permission to make some people thought, an overpay offer for Alex Bregman last year?
See, but what was that, an overpay? Because, I mean, he didn't.
But it certainly
it wasn't a cheap offer.
It was a
very good offer. It was market value.
It was a very good offer, but it didn't pan out. And I think, Ilitch, he sees, we've made playoffs 2 times in a row. For a lot of owners, that's the only goal. Yeah, they want to win a World Series, but making the dance is just as good to them. I don't think we should be super surprised that he's making these comments where it's, the plan has kind of changed from where they were at the end of their run this year to now where they've kind of changed what they're saying. Because I wouldn't be surprised if Ilitch is like, we don't need to necessarily, go all in on one of these guys where, we're giving out a longer contract.
I would be surprised. I would be surprised.
I don't think this is specifically a Chris Ilitch issue. Are the Tigers ever going to have a payroll like the Dodgers or the 2 New York teams or probably Boston? No. And I wouldn't expect them to. They should be in, basically the middle of the pack.
Which is where they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 15th out of 30.
And once in a while, if you have to go over, if you think somebody's going to get you over the top, then you do.
Yeah, I mean, if they sign, like for instance, if something happens and they sign Bregman, they'll probably have a top 10 payroll.
Yeah.
Stan in Shelby Township. What's up, Stan?
Season's greetings, everybody.
Good
to see you, Stoney. And first of all, Scott Harris. Chris Ilitch loves him. Not only has he gone to the playoffs 2 years in a row, last year they went from $1.8 million to $2.4 million in attendance. FanDuel subscriptions went up 54%, and they kept a top-flight minor league system. Now, going back to talking about the offensive players, are you aware that Max Anderson has an 1,100 OPS against left-handed pitching in Toledo? Are you aware that Howie Lee hit 1 homer every 10 at-bats against left-handed pitching in Toledo?
Yeah.
That's all great stuff.
Are you aware that, J-Hen and all these guys are under 26, 25? And my point is, and the J-Hen has about a 400 on-base percentage. My point is that he does believe in this, and he has improved the team. He is an incrementalist. He'll never be splashy. I think the team is going to do better than last year. I think that they need another starter and another reliever, and that people are always going to be saying cheap Ilitches, but that's not the point. The point is they're giving us a great product that the fans are coming out to, and I'm happy as heck.
Well,
I'm a season ticket holder. I love 'em.
Stan, was the last last month and a half of last year, was that a good product?
That was baseball. Okay. We had a guy, Conley, that was a lights-out reliever that got overused, in my opinion. We've taken care of that with 3 quality relievers now. And I think what happened, the average age of our team is 26 and a half or so. The average age of the major leaguers are 28 and a half. And I think that teams started loading up for them and treating them differently, just like what will happen with the Pistons. And we'll find out if they have the capacity to win games when they're not on thing.
I appreciate the minor league stats and all that kind of stuff, Stan, but you should know that all these guys it's great to be great in Toledo. I mean, does Jay Hen, when he comes up here, do people say, oh my God, he's going to be a stud? I mean,
no, they don't.
I mean, he's not. The fact that
they're not all going to pan out.
Probably had more at bats than Henry Malloy.
But it's interesting. Stan yes. is satisfied with the direction. Right. We asked the question, do you trust what Harris is doing? And Stan does.
I am too, but you need but just give me one. Just give me one. That's all. I'm not greedy.
You hear that, Scott? Stoney needs one.
Just one.
Just one. You'll be happy with just one.
Yeah, just one.
248-539-9797. Feedback coming in. I'm so sick of this guy talking to everyone like they're stupid and he's a genius, especially when he says, I understand why you have to ask that question. No crap. The questions are asked because what he's doing makes no sense. That's from Cooper.
It does make sense. We just don't agree with it all the whole thing.
It's not. When something is when he says it's stupid, okay? If it were stupid, people outside of Detroit would be writing about what the hell is Scott Harris doing? When something is that idiotic and illogical, it gets pointed out. It's more than just the fan base that points it out.
Well, he got ripped nationally at the deadline for doing basically nothing.
Did he get ripped?
Yeah, nationally. People couldn't understand why they didn't improve.
I guess I don't remember that. But at this point, the argument for getting aggressive is the ticking clock on Skubal.
Yes.
The funny thing is, somebody called our show a while ago and said, do you think that Skubal just had his best 2-year window of his career?
It's possible. And look, there's a lot of people
It's probably likely.
There's a lot of people there's not too many who win back-to-back size.
Or do it twice.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people who are a little down on him because of took himself out of
the seventh inning thing.
The fifth game. Yeah.
I think all 3 of these teams, the Lions, Red Wings, and Tigers, are very happy to be above average. They don't necessarily care to win a championship. If they can engage the fans and have sellouts every night, they're good with that. That's from JP and Southgate. I have no doubt Ilitch places more value on the consistent attendance and sales than championships. He can finally rely on average. I'd have to go back and look. Isn't attendance, is that a huge part of their income anymore? Isn't it TV deals?
It's more it's more in sports like hockey.
Yeah.
But yeah, attendance does make a big difference.
It does.
But the TV deal, especially the regional ones, are the big ones for them.
Harris understands that this is a young group, and they're not one bat away from beating super teams like the Dodgers. Wasting resources to end up in the same spot doesn't make sense. There's someone who trusts it. Scott Harris is riding off a foundation Avila built. Factually speaking, the players you deem the biggest stars on the roster are Avila guys. Scott Harris was brought in to put them over the hump, and to this day has shown no capabilities.
No, he was not brought here to put him over the hump. That's where you're wrong. They brought him in here to rebuild the entire organization. That's what he was brought here to do. And from what everybody says, even nationally, they've done that with the player development and all that stuff. That stuff takes a while. The problem is I'm using the texter's argument, with Avila's players, they got a lot closer than even I'm sure Scott Harris expected. So that's why we want more.
Yeah. And I mean, the foundation, when they're talking about the future, they're talking about the number one name. Well, I guess it's not the number one name, but Max Clark's name is pretty prominent. That was a Harris pick. And Bryce Rayner is a pretty prominent prospect. Kevin McGonigal was a Harris pick.
He's the number one prospect in baseball right now, I believe, in some circles.
248-539-9797. Look, I don't think it's idiotic, but there's a real pull because of Skubal.
Right.
or as the one listener put it, I don't think it's stupid, but there is a real pull because this incredible resource, which I just hope he's holding on to and will get that Godfather offer.
Well, it's funny because when I was driving in this morning, John and Jim were on break, and I put on MLB Network just for the hell of it. And Steve Phillips, and I forget who his co-host was, they were talking about the Tigers. And Phillips said he thinks that they're going to end up trading Skubal, before the season because they have to.
Well, there seems to be more and more reporters reporting things like that. Mm-hmm. But anyway, 248-539-9797. More your phone calls and feedback coming up. It is Karsch and Anderson. Stoney's in for Anderson. Scott Harris, Tiger president of baseball operations, spoke yesterday. We're reacting to that. Coming up next hour, we'll get into some Lions stuff. And later in the show, a famous name did something very embarrassing. Has it ever happened to you?